All right, it's just after 9 o'clock on Wednesday, October 8th. It's time for our weekly meeting of the Logansport Board of Works and Safety. If you would, please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Roll call, please, Carol Sue.
Here, Franklin.
Here.
Ron Miller.
Present.
Miss Armstrong. Here.
Approval of minutes from the October 1st, 2014 meeting.
I've read those minutes. I'd make a motion we approve as presented the minutes from the October 1st, 2014 meeting.
Second. Is there any discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of claims in the amount of $250,309.58.
I've reviewed the claims. I would make a motion we approve as presented the claims in the amount of $250,309.58.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Under licenses for consideration today, we have one that's for Dennis Kurtz, doing business as Apex Electric and Sign. I know Dennis. I've known Dennis for a number of years, and I assure you he does the best work in all of Cass County. He is the most thorough individual I've ever met in my life.
I would second
I'm sorry?
It's David.
His name is David.
It's David Kurtz, isn't it? D. Kurtz. I'm sorry. Well, I don't know David, but I'm sure it's good too. So I would make the motion to approve David Kurtz electric license. It's been a long night. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
David Kurtz here. How about Dennis Kurtz? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, it passes on a vote of 3-0. 2 licenses approved there. Are there any changes to the agenda? No. Visitor comments?
None.
Hope we do better on the awarding of the contract for the tub grinder than we did on that last electric license. No visitor comments. Under old business.
I would like to add the awarding of the bid for the tub grinder to old business.
I'll second that motion.
Do you need to vote on something on your agenda? Or just do it?
I guess technically that should have been under changes to the agenda, but I don't think I mentioned it. I was still laughing about the Dennis Kurtz thing. So I think in order to make sure that we do this properly, we'll have to have a motion to change the agenda and add under old business award of bids regarding the tub grinder.
I'll make the motion that we add to changes of agenda the awarding of the tub grinder under old business.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passed on a vote of 3-0. So now there are no visitor comments. Under old business, we've changed the agenda to consider awarding of the bid regarding bids that were submitted for a tub grinder to be used at the composting site that the city operates out by the state hospital. So, having said that, do you have a recommendation?
I do. I have Dan, would you come forward, please? And if I say something wrong, would you please correct me? There were 6 bids that were received. Dan, how many people did you have that evaluated equipment? Did you do 2 or 3 different evaluations?
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 demonstrations, and at any given time we had 4 to 5 people that were there wanting to know the same thing I did. Which one would we get the best service out of, safety, and which one's going to last the longest.
And you did a stress test when one of them performed?
4 times than 1. If you would allow me, and I won't
Sure.
dwell on this, I get teased about how long I take, so I won't take long. I will tell you this, that all the people, there were city councilmen, the mayor attended a couple of them, we were all in agreement to this. This is not one person making one decision. After going through all the demos, and they were all good, we decided on the Vermeer, which I announced last week. The big reason for that is, very simply, we stopped. For my knowledge, we completely stopped the machine. Loaded it, loaded it, loaded it, loaded it until it was running over both sides. The Vermeer 5000 ground it up, and I timed it, and I made him do it twice because I wasn't sure. It ground all this material up, trees, tree stumps, big logs, little logs. It ground them up in less than 5 minutes. We have a guy that was loading it that's worked for the street department over 26 years. He could not keep up with it. Now, not to cut down another demonstration, but the one that came in low, we continually, and I mean continually, and I'm just one person, you can ask all of them, we continually had to put big pieces on top of the small brush to get it to grind up. It continued to bridge. We never got it completely empty, and I'm talking about the tub. We never got the tub completely empty. We were continually having to move the logs around in the tub with the front loader, which is very dangerous. We have a safety thing at stake. So what all this means is, with the Vermeer, if you take a 40-hour work week, we can go out there and we can save 20 hours because it'll do it twice as fast as any of the other machines. And I invite anybody there to prove me wrong, and that's any of the other people. We tried to make everything fail, and it just eat it up and spit it out.
And for the record, your recommendation was the equipment from Vermeer
Midwest, the TG 5000.
Okay. And let me just read a paragraph in the...
May I pass these out to you?
Sure. Okay. Let me just read the next to last paragraph in the bid, and it says the City of Logansport, Indiana reserves the right to accept any bid in whole or in part, or to reject any or all bids, to waive irregularities and or informalities in any bid, and to make the award in any manner deemed to be in the best interest of the City of Logansport, Indiana. And then a question was raised at the last meeting about the low bid not being accepted, and I want to point out for the record that in that bid, under exceptions, it points out in the specs, item 13 of the specification says the machine shall contain a cover that encompasses a portion of the tub opening to restrain objects from being thrown into the tub. And in the exception in the bid, it says that the tub cover is a complete cover, not a partial cover. And so that is not in full compliance with your bid specs. So the recommendation is for the Vermeer Midwest equipment. Anything else?
Just talking about the tub cover, I provided you with a picture. The very front picture is the tub cover. Mm-hmm. To me, that's one of the most important things, other than and I'm going to call it a grinding wheel, which it isn't. But if you break both machines down, I'm talking about the Duratec 3010 and the Vermeer TG 5000. If you break both of those down, this thing is going to be practically maintenance free. And I'm not only looking about today, tomorrow, I'm looking 20 years down the road. And that's why my recommendation is this way. It's been proven. I tried everything I know. I had everybody, including Vermeer, mad at me because we were throwing logs in there that I wanted it to fail. And I will guarantee you that is the machine that we need, and it will last way after I'm in Mount Hope 6 feet under.
For whatever it's worth, I would note a couple of things as well. I'm fairly familiar with Vermeer and the product line that they produce, and it's outstanding equipment. It really holds up, and they have a history of producing quality equipment. The other thing that I would point out is the spec on the Duratec says that it has a capacity of accepting logs up to 32 inches, and the spec that we wrote or that we requested has at least a 42-inch or larger bid spec. So technically the Duratec didn't meet the spec as it was called for. And I understand it's the competitive nature of the business, and I certainly respect the folks from up at Winnemac and their position, but technically they didn't meet the bid specs, and we know that Vermeer has a history of producing good quality equipment that's going to last for years. I think the tub grinder we're on right now lasted 23 years, and I hope this one lasts, every bit as long. I think it's the right move, and I would make a motion to approve your recommendation to go ahead and award the bid for Vermeer Midwest. $364,074.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion. Okay. All in favor of awarding the bid to Vermeer Midwest in the amount of $364,070 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes on a vote of 3-0. Nope. We're going to cut them $4. All right. There's no further old business. Under new business, we have an application for a street cut, 334 Wheatland Avenue for NIPSCO to install gas service approximately 104 feet east of the center line of Brown Street in the alley of Wheatland. NIPSCO is also very thorough in their reporting, and they're very efficient in the way they do things. They notify and comply with all the requests by the city. I would make the motion that we approve the curb cut and the street cut for NIPSCO at 334 Wheatland Avenue.
It's 343.
343 Wheatland Avenue. That one too. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you. City street closure, Cache County Family Y. This is for the Turkey Trot to be held on
November 27th
November 27th.
from 8 to 10.
This is another one that's appears to be in order. I don't see anything wrong with it looking at it. I make the motion that we approve the request for the street closure.
Second.
Everybody appears to have signed off on it. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Passed on a vote of 3-0. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. It's usually not this bad when Chris runs the meeting. Memorandum of Understanding regarding the Safe Routes to School project, and I will ask Community Development Director Chris Armstrong to explain and elaborate.
This is for a Safe Routes to School sidewalk that is going to be installed on Biddle Street at Fairview Park, and all this is saying is that LMU, the property is in LMU's name, and they are giving us permission to put the sidewalk in there, and this is just a requirement from NDOT to show that we're all working together.
I understand
That's
it. Thank you.
basically all it is.
Thank you for all your work. How many Safe Routes to School grants is this now?
This will be the second one since I've been here.
It's at least a second. I know you've been working on this for a long time. I'd make the motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding. It's before us. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you. Under reports, Code Enforcement Officer first. I feel.
Good morning. I actually remembered to wait my turn this time.
Good morning.
You have my weekly report in front of you for your review. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. I have one issue, the notice to appear. All the other citizens that were scheduled for notice to appear for today's meeting have been cleared as of yesterday, with one exception, Armando Cervantes. My recommendation to them is slight improvement. I would take the task of recontacting them and tell them that we will extend them for 2 more weeks. Today's 15th is the next one, and 22nd?
Yeah. You're right.
Yes.
Extend it till October the 22nd,
Okay.
Board of Works meeting.
Everything else appears to be in order. Is there any discussion?
No.
I make the motion to approve the code enforcement officer's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you, sir. All right. Superintendent of Public Works, Mr. Williams.
Oh. Good morning.
Good morning,
I have
Dan.
before me, before you, my report for the Public Works Department, which is the Logansport Street Department, also Mount Hope Cemetery. As usual, we were very busy, and the Street Department is waiting till all the leaves come down. We're looking real forward to that. And then after the leaves, believe it or not, I bought salt again yesterday. I'm getting antsy, so as you read in the newspaper all the salt shortages, I'm saying, well, little old Logansport's not going to do that. So I had the money, so we spent it. We bought salt. Our salt barn will be totally full and ready to go. And change a little note, thanks to City Council at the cemetery, we're able to install new carpet, beautiful carpet. The carpet had been in there since 1975, so you can imagine just a little paint and new carpet, how nice it looks. And I would invite anyone, city government or the public, to come up and then inspect it. It's beautiful.
New windows as well?
New windows. Last year I noticed we had snow coming in our windows, and if you can, and it just kept coming in because it's a bad winter. We have brand new windows, just unbelievable what a difference it makes. And we also got new soffit. Our soffit was falling down around the roof, and new gutters. And we thank City Council for appropriating the funds for that, and it does show up. We do, there's more people that go up there and use the chapel that, you never read about. And it's one thing I think the city should be very proud of. In talking with other cemetery sextons, we had a Tipton come up, and they were just amazed at how well our cemetery was, and they had visited like a couple in Carmel, a couple in Fishers, and they rated our chapel as being, and our facilities as being right up there with one. So,
Well, thank you.
A question for you, Dan.
Yes.
I noticed in front of the Eastgate property a significant cleanup there. Would you like? I assume you were responsible for that. Would you like to?
well, I can't take all the responsibility because I really didn't know that it was our responsibility until I was informed that was our responsibility. You think when you lease a piece of property, the leasee is responsible for that. So once we found out, we will take care of it. And it looks nice.
It
It's
looks
something
nice.
that,
There's some landscaping there that wasn't there before.
and our guys they do, believe it or not, like other departments, they also take pride in their work, and they do it. It shows, and that's an
good.
example of how it shows.
Yeah. I make a motion to approve the report that's submitted by Superintendent of Public Works.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
None.
Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Passes on a vote of 3-0. Thanks, Dan. And next we have Parks Administrator. Hi, Jan.
What's your name? Ted. I think that my girl left out part of Jan's report. Can I go get it and bring it to you? That's all right.
I was going to say, I think we're okay.
That's the park board.
That's
meeting
part,
agenda.
yeah,
Do
that's the wrong thing.
I have it?
Do you have more? Oh,
Oh, wait a
Oh, you
minute.
don't
That-
have this?
No,
no,
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
I'll go get it.
Okay. We'll hold on here.
I had it in the board packets, and
and it's,
Forgot to point that out.
All I have is the agenda.
Anyway, so I can kind of just tell you a little bit about what's in it. Mostly, September was an extremely busy month for us, just with all the different community activities between finishing up our Sundown Summer Music Series, dedicating Houston Park, Two Rivers, Two Wheels, bike tour, Art on the Avenue, the Health Expo, and then Dancing with Our Stars here this last week. And we've just been really busy trying to keep up with all the different activities going on in the city. And so anyway, the guys have moved picnic tables, I can't tell you how many times, for whatever event. And the stage, they've moved that a couple times. And so anyway, they've had a good time, a good run here though. We also, this is not in your report. I was telling Dan yesterday, Dean and I surveyed some of the trees at Dykeman, and he feels like there might be 100 dead trees at Dykeman. And that's just between the emerald ash borer disease hitting all those ash trees, or last winter, I think we had a lot of damage from all that snow and cold last winter. So that's one of the projects we're going to have to take on this winter, is tearing out cutting down a lot of dead trees.
mhm.
So,
And did you say that the Parks Department has a stump grinder?
we have a stump grinder.
Yeah, I thought you did. Well, that should help a lot as well.
Yes.
And
So-
as we wait on that, if you have 100 dead trees, I would assume that you intend to load them some way and transport them to the composting site. Is that
Yeah.
usually what you do?
And we've always worked with LMU and the street department to make that all work, and
Mhm.
and we'll work with them on their schedule as they're available, and
Right.
and that's one of those things. And the Parks Department staff will probably help with that as well. We do have our own dump truck, so we can do some of that as well.
Right, you still have the
And,
backhoe up there as well.
It's a joint effort. There's no way to do that kind of number of trees without everybody working together to get that done. So.
Right, I noticed up around Lincoln School, I think they had, number sticks out in my head, 12 or 17, and I don't know which one it was. It was a number of trees
Mhm.
that were also stricken by the emerald ash borer, and they took them down to the ground. I don't know if they've gotten the stumps out yet, but it's really getting around, doing some damage.
Yeah,
And you
we've lost a lot of trees, and
Yeah.
anything we can do to...
have to drive no farther than the fire department down on 7th Street. I think they've got 3 or 4 that are either dead or almost dead.
Along the side, yeah.
Yeah, but they've got chainsaws down there.
We've
They've got a ladder truck.
And we've got a scout troop working on trees here in October.
Oh, yeah.
Later in this month. We got 4 trees coming in to start replacing things. So anyway,
Thank you. We can share. Thank you, Kathy. All right, now we have it in writing.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
That's my fault too. And then the other thing that, I don't know if did you give them the golf? No, that's all right. That's okay. No. Right now, we are just a little ahead of where we were last year on golf revenue, so we're in pretty good shape so far this year.
How are we on expenses at the golf course?
We're doing fine.
Right there,
We're
I mean-
not over anything, so.
It's a lot to look at under the gun here.
I know, I'm sorry.
We'll take a look at it later, and if there's
Please
any
let me know if you have
questions,
any questions.
if there's any questions, we'll have you back next week. How's that? Okay.
Motion to approve the park administrator's report.
Second?
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
All right, we'll take a look at it, Jan. Like I said, if there's anything, we'll get back with you. Thank you. Are there any board member comments? Hearing none. Miscellaneous business, including ADA Section 504 compliance or concerns, or any other matters not already considered? None. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to